Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to the new story of r/relationship advice. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for new future videos. Let's get started. Cheers.
Stories in today's video. 1. Wife wants us to move to her hometown to be closer to her AP, relationships advice, cheating story 2. I told my male friend that he's sh*t at s*x. *TLDR. This week I found out that my wife cheated on me when she went back to her hometown to visit her family and friends. We've been together for 9 years, married 5 years. We had some tension during that time which made me realize she has a lot of issues about my behavior, which I feel like was an incentive for her to be with another man. Over the past year and a half we've both been in COVID lockdown. She lost her job and was at home while I continued to work from home. When vaccinations were open to the public, she went back to her hometown to get vaccinated, so she could start to socialize after not being able to see her family for so long. I stayed back because of some immigration issues since I couldn't cross the border with her, Canada to US. May 28th. Everything was going along okay. We'd use FaceTime multiple times a day to chat. Then one day she says that she needs time alone to think about some stuff, so I say sure, I won't bother you. A few days go by and not a word from her, and as her husband I wanted to make sure she's okay, so I called her and all hell broke loose. She was crying, tell me how frustrated she has been with me for years, all the pent-up issues she's had with me, big and small, during our entire relationship. Some of it was valid, some I didn't feel was totally true, but over the next few days the outcome of it was that I need to talk to a therapist to handle some issues I have. Which I accept. There are things I need to talk to a professional about. We don't have any financial, alcohol, gambling or addiction issues. Mostly anger management, communication and certain control issues that I have. It was a little rough that week, but we started talking again. Things were going back to normal. I booked a ticket for her to come back home. Meanwhile, I felt like something was weird about her. She wasn't acting the way I've known her to be. She would always say, "I love you so much," and start crying. First week of June*. Meanwhile, she mentions she's having vaginal burning, like a yeast infection with some discharge. She got tested and treatment for a yeast infection, and I joked with her to get an STD test too, just in case. She did get an STD test and it was negative, but the vaginal issue wasn't going away. June 23rd*. So she comes back home and the following day books an online appointment with a doctor to get tested again, and when she talks to the doctor she went on to our balcony and closed the door. That was a huge red flag for me because she never, ever goes onto the balcony to talk. She did it a second time to talk to her closest friend, and I thought that's really weird. I knew something was up. Later that night I checked her phone to see if anything odd showed up in her messages or browser history. She deleted her entire browser history while she was in Arizona, another red flag. Then I find a screenshot of text messages she deleted but were still in a deleted folder, and they between her and another guy at the time she was changing flights in the Atlanta airport. She was upset with him because he didn't come to the dinner they had planned the night before she left for her hometown. I then went and checked her phone records, looking at the times she texted or called his number. And she had been in contact with him 5 days before she and I had our first serious conversation about marriage issues. I confronted her and learned that he was a long-time high school crush, and she saw him in the club one night when she went out with her friends. She kissed him in the club and went home with him that night. She saw him 3 more times after that in a public park, and planned to see him for dinner a final time before she came back to me. He didn't show up the final night, and she realized he used her. She said she felt guilty the day after her first hookup and realized she destroyed our marriage. She continued to see him because she felt like it was over between us, was lonely and need a male to give her attention and confidence. During that time she was seeing him, we were still talking, and often after we would talk she'd call him. There's just a lot of emotions right now for me to deal with. She said she went home with him because she had so many frustrations with me, and when she saw an old friend from her past she fell into temptation. I was even more upset that her closest friends let her go home with another man, and over the entire time she was there they didn't tell her that what she was doing was wrong. 3 of her closest friends knew and none of them told her to stop it. She should have known better. I'm just upset with it, all of them. I asked her, why did you come back to me, and not just stay there? She said she really wanted to come back and work on our marriage, that she wants to be with me, and she realized she wouldn't find another man who loves her as much as I do. I genuinely believe her. I feel like the experience she had with this man devastated her. I've been the only man she's ever been with, so I can understand a human desire to experience something else when you have the chance, but at the same time a marriage vow has to mean something. Now I feel betrayed and disgusted, but I don't know if it's worth it to go to counseling to work on this and forgive her, or if what she did is unforgivable and ending our marriage is the right option. It's hard to know what to do because there are so many things society, religion and culture tells us about marriage, but at the same time life is hard, and being an adult is really hard. Is it human to try and forgive what a loved one did, or do we have strict rules we must adhere to no matter how much a person mean to us? We don't have any children, which makes divorce a realistic option. At the same time, I've invested 9 years in a relationship with her, and I feel like I can forgive her for making a terrible decision, yet it's hard to come to terms with how *tty she treated me and think that I deserve to keep her in my life. How am I supposed to know that's she being honest when she says she hates herself and wants to be with me? I've reached out to a therapist for myself and our marriage counselor for us. One of my 24F male friends, I'll call Jack 25M, is a bit of a lad and very good looking. Jack basically thinks that lad points are important. He's always going on about how many girls he's been with and how high his body count is. I lived with him in a house share for a while, and whenever he brought a girl home, he'd make sure to parade her around by introducing her, spend 15 to 20 minutes in his room having *X, then come out and strut around naked or in his boxers. Yes, he really would. I remember saying a few times, "Why are you out here? You have a beautiful girl in your room and you're not in there with her?" This behavior was pretty common for him, and even though he was an almighty douche, we were still friends. Anyway, after about 8 months of living together, after a drunken night, me and Jack ended up in bed together. Honestly, it was terrible, and having slept with him I realized something. Jack had a big DCK, which I knew because of his strutting, but he thought that having a big DCK automatically meant he was good at *X. Like it just immediately made him amazing in bed. Our *X was *T, like hands down the worst *X I'd ever had. No foreplay. He left lights and TV on, then unceremoniously shoved himself inside me. The whole thing was basically a race for him to get inside me as quickly as possible. Maybe 10 minutes of uncomfortable jackhammering, then he was done. The next morning I was really sore because 1. I wasn't wet at all, 2. His DCK was big. But because I was sore, he took that as him doing a bang-up job. Anyway, that experience was a few years ago, and even after all this time, Jack is still the same lad he was, and still *CKS girls like they're lined up on a conveyor belt for him. Back to the present. Recently, my husband and I hosted a barbecue in our garden, as gatherings are now allowed. Jack came over as he's in our mutuals group. Of course, after a while Jack starts going on about the girls he's *CKED, and even showing up another girl at the party by telling people he'd *CKED her. It's then he turns to me and asks if I can prove to the lads how fire he is at *X. Slightly *SSED, but also angry he even mentioned me. I straight up told him he was *T. Basically worst *X I ever had. I then went on to say what happened and that he only has *X just to say that he's had *X. It wasn't fun, pleasurable or enjoyable, and for the record I didn't come. Amazingly enough, 2 other girls also backed up what I was saying. Saying their nights with him were pretty much the same to how I described it. Jack got defensive and angry, but we wouldn't drop it. He eventually left absolutely fuming. My husband, who knows I slept with him years before, said I was insensitive, especially as it seems Jack relies heavily on the lad's god persona he's created. I don't think so. It was about time Jack was called out for being *T in bed, and maybe use this to learn how to actually have *X. All the boys in the group think I'm an *SS for calling Jack out. Me and the girls disagree. Edit. Holy cow, this got way more attention than I thought it would. Thanks for all the comments. And thank you kind strangers for the awards. Should clear a few things up. A lot of people asking why I was or am friends with Jack. I was back then, because honestly at times he was a decent guy, just blanketed by a douchey exterior. After I moved out of the house, we fell out of close contact but are still hovering in mutual friend circles. I'm not directly friends with him now, but he's still a friend of a friend and we are normally civil. Edit number 2. I really don't get why people are misunderstanding the story. For the record, I did not cheat on my husband. Jack and I had a one-night stand together years ago while we were at uni. I wouldn't consider him my friend now, but we still have mutuals from different social circles and we do occasionally still see one another. Info. Basically my friend group, close, mutual, extended, all knew or knew of each other at uni. I'm British and now live in the States. I attended uni between the ages of 18 to 21. At 19 I went to the States for a year abroad, and the sister uni is where I met my now husband. Jack is American and was an international student doing exchange. I was first year, he was second year. First year, ended up living with Jack because I decided to go to uni last minute, and as halls were full, ended up responding to a house share ad. A lot of students drop out after making a house share commitment, so these ads are common. I actually met my husband, also American, through Jack, as Jack was one of my only known contacts when I moved to the States. My British uni and his American uni were linked. I met my husband a year after I slept with Jack. I could not possibly have had any idea that my housemate and one-night stand would go on to introduce me to my future husband. My husband knew Jack and I slept together because, and funnily enough, Jack brought it upon our first meeting. Living together, Jack and I mainly bonded over weed and raves, and although he was sometimes somewhat decent, looking back I'm disgusted at our so-called friendship. I could write an essay on how he treated me. Update. Honestly, reading through the comments of women praising me for standing up and being honest warms my heart. I greatly appreciate the support I got and the response my post got has encouraged me to be a stronger person. Yes, in that moment I was angry, but now I feel that I can continue standing up for myself and not taking any more sh*t. I ended up telling my husband I posted this on Reddit, and seeing how popular the post was in the comments for himself, he was immediately upset that people had called him an *ss hole for not standing up for me. From that we had a long, and maybe overdue discussion. I laid out how ***ssing the situation was for me, and how, after dealing with so much **t from Jack, I wasn't going to apologize for tearing him down. Like so many people commented on, I asked my husband why he was okay with Jack's comments, as surely Jack ***ssed him as well. I even pointed to a hilarious string of comments, with my personal favorite. I think it's funny that the husband was disagreeing, like, honey, be nice and tell Jack he has bomb ***ssdck, go ahead and tell everyone he laid the pipe, go on. My husband reasoned, that's just Jack. He doesn't really mean any harm in what he jokes about. I told my husband how I felt and he honestly didn't realize that all this time the ***shul jokes made me so uncomfortable and that I just covered up my uneasiness by just going along with it. I also wanted to distance myself from his friends, close and mutual. As right now I feel like there was never any respect before and certainly won't be any respect for me after. As I'm still getting messages from the boys calling me a bitch, SLT, WHRE, you name it. I told my husband that if he wasn't going to stand up for me or stand with me, I would leave him. The persona he has around his friends is completely different to his true personality and is not the man I married. I respect myself more than to let my husband and his friends disregard my feelings in such a blatant way, and worse, allow my husband to witness and just stand by me getting publicly humiliated. My husband is not confrontational whatsoever and admitted he was also very ****ssed but kept quiet. He has never said anything before because Jack is the ringleader of the group and didn't want to go up against him. And as it turns out, it isn't the first time Jack has made comments about me to my husband, I just haven't been there to witness it. Furious at that, I told my husband that breaking away from the toxic group would be best for the both of us, but if he wants to be Jack's lapdog then I won't get in the way of that. I'm pleased to say my husband chose me. He apologized for his own complicit behavior and agreed our lives would improve without our so-called friends. I think me pointing out that his friends disrespecting me were in turn disrespecting him got him to see the reality of it. Truthfully, if they had any shred of respect for him as a friend, they would not be putting him down publicly as well. We were both the butt of the joke. One last point, I didn't apologize to Jack and I never intend to. Honestly, I never intend to speak to him again, but I did message him before I blocked him. To sum up, I messaged to detail point by point why he was bad in bed. That having a big DCK doesn't equate to being great in bed, and to get off his high horse. Women are not shul objects for you to parade around and @SS, and maybe if you could please a woman, you wouldn't just have to rely on getting girls drunk from the club or bar. I also let him know that how he treats female friends is appalling, and he needs to reflect not just on his *X game but who he is as a person. So, I've informed Jack of his lack of skills and he is no longer ignorant. If he continues with his behavior, that is not on me. For the record, yes, women should be open and honest in bed, but I don't think it should be a woman's responsibility to let a man know. I mean, guys, read the room. Once again, thank you for the brilliant and supportive comments. Portive.